Ladies and gentlemen, before I get the Ashlee, the Bubby, in here, the Bubby is going to be coming in to talk Better Call Saul Season 4. I will warn in the chat right now, yes, we are going to spoil Season 4, even though Season 4 is not the most recent season. Season 5 is the most recent season. We're not talking about Season 5. I have not seen Season 5 yet, but only Season 4. But we will be spoiling it. So if you have not seen it and you want to, please, well, just keep the stream up, but just turn your audio off. something of that something of that nature, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, and I want to just thank everybody. Thank you, mods. Thank you to all my moderators for doing such a great job over there in the chat. Thank you very, very much to everybody who has donated today, everybody who has been a part of the stream so far today. We had Paul, and we had Ducky just come in, and now we are going to be joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the Bubby. Let's get her in here. Oh wait, I gotta switch my scene. Yes, we're twinsies.
Yay!
It makes me so happy. You are the Bubby. Hi, the Bubby.
I am the Bubby. Hi, I've got a little swag over here for you guys today.
Oh.
Part of the benefit of not working for 10 weeks is I can build a set for this today.
I love you so much.
I know.
The Bubby is the host of the Rabbit Ears podcast. She is also the Bubby of the other Bubby, who is
Green Room Bubby.
The Green Room.
The
Bubby.
reason why I signed into the Green Room like 20 minutes ago.
Just so you could see the Bubby. Do you miss him?
Well, like, cause of course I miss him. But he's like, I'm leaving him alone and letting him focus on what he's got to do this weekend. So that's when I get to talk to him this weekend. It's just then.
Aw. Well, you two are adorable, and I love you.
Oh my God.
But we are here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about Better Call Saul Season 4. But before we get there, Ashlee, because you did a show for a long time, and then you went on hiatus.
Yeah.
And then now you're back. So tell us what Rabbit Ears TV is all about if people aren't familiar with it.
So I didn't realize how big a fan of television I really was until I actually started doing this podcast and like looking into shows that I love. So it's basically just a show where each episode, me and a guest host will come on and we'll discuss a TV series that's no longer got episodes airing. Like, it doesn't mean it's a completed series because some things get canceled before their time, Firefly. But it's just kind of an opportunity and sometimes it's shows that I haven't even seen. So the guest host will be a big fan of the show, and then sometimes I rip into it and it doesn't go so smooth.
My heart, I'm still putting the pieces of my heart back together after she savagely destroyed Lost.
That was legit like my first real episode outside of like, because originally when the podcast first started, I had co-hosts that were supposed to watch the show and we were supposed to talk about it together. But then we did a Twin Peaks episode where I think one person had watched 3 episodes and that was it out of 3 people. And then I went solo after that, and then you and Justin were the first like guest hosts I had on, and that happened.
My heart, I'm still gluing the pieces of my heart back together. But we also did Better Call Saul.
We did Glee.
No, Glee.
No, we did Glee, Breaking Bad,
and did we do
something else?
We did something else, didn't we? Did I do Arrested Development with you? No.
Oh yeah, yes you did.
Yes, we did. Yes.
That one got lost though, because in the like.
Yes, that's right.
So The Office, Parks and Rec, and Arrested Development all got lost. So and Twin Peaks, yeah, those all got lost. So they are up for revisiting.
Oh yeah.
At some point.
And
the benefit of re-recording Arrested Development would be not having the ex-husband on it with us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God. And we'll probably only in the briefest of passings be like, oh yeah, there were a couple Netflix seasons.
No. It would be 2 separate episodes. One dedicated to the genius of Arrested Development, and one really just shitting down the throats of everybody involved with the reboot.
Drew Helen, we love us some Ashlee as well. We absolutely love us some Ashlee as well. So we are here again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about Better Call Saul season 4. Now, as I warned just before she got on the air, I will remind you again: we are going to spoil the ever-loving shit out of season 4 of Better Call Saul. This is not, keep in mind, the most recent season. Season 5 was the most recent. I have not seen season 5, so if you have, no spoilers for that in the chat, or I will find you.
Yes.
But we're going to be talking in depth about all of season 4 of Better Call Saul. And I mean, if you've heard the Rabbit Ears episode, and if you haven't, you should. But if you've heard the Rabbit Ears episode where Ashlee and I talked for, I think, just about 2 hours about Breaking Bad, and I think we both agreed, like, after we were done, didn't even scratch the surface enough. Like, there was so much more I think we wanted to talk about with that, you know, we're huge fans of this Vince Gilligan universe. And as much as we both love Breaking Bad, I think we both, confidently I can say, I think we both equally love Better Call Saul.
Especially this season. Season 4 for me, like, it was so fucking good. Like, and I've seen, so once season 4, I finished watching it on Netflix, season 5 was starting on DirecTV, and now I have cable and all that stuff, so I started watching it. But like, for me, this universe is kind of like, the best analogy I can come up with is like taking a shower. Like, sometimes you're like, I don't really want to get in the shower, so like, it's a thing you never want to get into, but then when you're in there, you never want to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard for me to like go from all of my stupid flighty rom-com dumb stuff that I watch to like this heavy universe. But when I do, like, I don't want to get, so like when season 5 came out, it was like a 1 episode at a time thing, and I had a hard time like getting into it all spread out like that. So I actually haven't even seen the finale of season 5, and I've forgotten a lot of what's happened.
Yeah, so
but season 4,
ladies and gentlemen, so the third season of Better Call Saul ends with, of course, the death of Chuck McGill, who is Michael McCune, who I adore him as an actor. He's so good in this show that I rewatched the entire series up to this point just to do this retrospective with Ashlee on the event, and I thought I hated Chuck before. Holy shit, do I hate Chuck McGill. Holy shit. I hate him so much.
He wasn't even like, he's not in the season in any way except for like flashbacks.
Yeah.
But he's this kind of asshole.
Which I'm so glad they got him back to do a couple of flashback scenes.
I'll shit on Chuck in a second. I like this season a lot because you get more than any other previous series of flash forwards and flashbacks that kind of like get you hype. So like that flash forward when they were doing it with Saul shredding everything in his office, and with Francesca, like
where he's right before he calls the cleaner, and you know, that's obviously the end of the season 5 of Breaking Bad, of course. Yeah. Oh, I as soon as I saw it, because you know it's that hair. As soon as you see that hair, you're just like they're flashing forward, and you see the office with the Constitution all over the walls. Oh, it's glorious. And thank you very much.
Amazing.
Jared Taylor, $33.34 donation. Guys, we're $200 away from $6,000.
Oh my God.
$6,000 for cancer research. You guys are absolutely amazing. But yeah, I agree. And you know what else I really love? So talking about the way that every season of Better Call Saul opens is with a black and white flash forward look at Saul's life after the events of Breaking Bad. So you get after the events of Breaking Bad. So the kind of it's a longer one. It's a much longer one. It carries off right from the end of the season 3 one, where he passes out at the end of the season 3 opener in the Cinnabon that he's the manager of, and like he kind of wakes up and he goes to the hospital, and he has this thing where like it's not recognizing his social security number and everything, because of course he had a whole new identity created for him. Yeah. And then you get that thing where he's in the cab and he sees the Albuquerque Isotopes air freshener hanging, and then he just sees somebody, like the cabbie just keeps looking back at him and everything. What did you think? Like, how, like, first of all, masterful direction of this show. Every episode of this show is directed so goddamn well and acted so goddamn well. It's so tense. It's so tense. Oh.
Listen, I never noticed like technical things. Dan will totally vouch for that, but the cinematography in this show is stunning, and you can tell like there's a lot of scenes where I noticed that it's mostly natural light. Like they'll be indoors, but they don't ever turn on overhead lights unless it's like absolutely necessary. So like he just really wants, I think, to convey that like this shit's happening in the dark. This is the, under the fucking cover shit that you're not supposed to know about. Like, it would not be happening like in what I'm in right now, which I hate overhead lights, so I kind of love that.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's just like, and then like they'll have like go from these dark scenes, like in Gus's office comes to mind, where it's always super dark, and then they'll have this shot of him talking to Don, I think Julio, and he's like on this fucking vast plain with the sky bright ass blue and like the oranges of the dust, and it just like shows this huge. It's just fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, and you can tell it from Breaking Bad as well that Vince Gilligan loves shooting Albuquerque. Absolutely loves shooting Albuquerque, and we have a $25 donation from our very own executive producer Brennick. Bubby. Here
comes the Bubby. Here comes the Bubby.
So thank you very much, Dan. 175, guys. We're also 175 away from more Moonshine for Drew. Also 175 away from Creeping Reaper Jerky, the third level of our Carnivore Candy Challenge, which I am super, super excited to get to.
If we hit that while I'm on, I'll do a shot of Eagle Warrior.
Ooh, you guys heard that. We'll get Drew in here so they can take their shots together and everything. So guys,
Yay!
Make it rain. But you can tell, to get back to the cinematography and stuff, like I said, you can tell that Vince Gilligan loves shooting Albuquerque and in New Mexico and in the surrounding area. And it's one of those things where you're absolutely right. Everything about it is just beautiful. But then they really, really know where to position cameras. Like there's that one great shot in, I think it's somewhere in mid-season 3, where Mike finally meets Gus Fring face to face, and the way the road is, you've got Gus Fring is just elevated a little bit, and you're so used to seeing Mike, this powerful character, but he's like down here in the shot comparatively. So you just see there's so much fine attention to detail from the crew and everyone that works on this show. It's just chef's kiss.
Well,
it's
now
amazing.
that I'm even thinking about it, like every scene that you see Gus in, he's in the darkest of dark, except for there's one like shot of him standing outside sweeping trash in the parking lot of Pollos Hermanos, and that's when he's got the full exterior of like this is his like false identity or whatever, like that's his front. So it's just like all that shit, and just
and we had another donation, ladies and gentlemen, a $20 donation. Thank you very much, 8BR, for the host. Brad from the Cinema Guys. He said if we hit the $6,000 mark this hour, he will be honored to get on and do a group shot with everyone as well.
Yeah.
So it's apparently going to be group shots. We don't have any liquor here, but I will happily take out the margarita mix that I still have from yesterday's segment and down a shot of that. I guess that was Gerald from 2Ps, that $20 that $20 donation, by the way. But don't
feel peer pressure. You don't have to take a shot of anything.
I feel so peer pressured, Ashlee.
Don't.
No,
peer pressure's gross.
Can we
I think instead of like doing a progression, let's just talk about each of the characters that we want to talk about and like kind of like what, because I feel like that might make more sense than trying to like do the progression of the story.
I agree. It make much more sense. Obviously, we'll hit a lot of those different elements and whatnot. But yeah.
I just want to tell you that Kim is a fucking saint. Kim is a goddamn saint.
Holy shit, this is my favorite Kim Wexler season so far.
Yes.
Rhea Seehorn kills it this season. She's so good. Why is she so good? She just gets hotter somehow, I think. She's
everything. Like when she fucking tears Howard's asshole apart, like
oh my God. And like you've been waiting, like Jimmy, and I mean Jimmy has always been at odds with Howard, with Hamlin McGill, with Chuck, and with that whole side of everything. Like he's always kind of been there. But Kim has always, like, she's been with Jimmy and she's stayed with Jimmy and she's stuck by Jimmy through literally everything. But you've never seen another character really, really go for the jugular on another one of these characters before ever. And like Howard, especially Howard and Chuck, both of them together they're such pieces of shit. Deliciously, like Patrick Fabian and Michael McKean,
Yes.
Amazing performances from both of them. You know what? And speaking of which, I don't want to get away from Kim yet because there's a couple key Kim moments.
Go where the conversation takes us, baby.
But Patrick Fabian, honestly, I'm gonna say it too. I think Patrick Fabian. I think this is my favorite Howard Hamlin season too. I love that they give him. You don't give him a ton, but they give him like where he's kind of. He blames himself a little bit for Chuck's death. Like he thinks it's his fault a little bit. He kind of has a little bit of a character crisis as well. You can see. There's a ding in the confidence of that character where he's been the shining confidence all through. Even the side characters, even the small, minute characters, which is the genius of Vince Gilligan, get a lot of depth and get a lot of love.
Everybody, I've given not a lot, but a few of these shows credit for taking the time to really build these characters and have, like, even though you really only get 4 memorable scenes of Howard this season, they're all impactful. They're great. And they all tell a story. And like fucking 3 of them are him getting fucking reamed by either Jimmy or Kim. So like that's just
there's that one exchange he has with Jimmy. That one exchange he has. It's like midway through the season where Jimmy tears into him, and then he's just like, "Fuck you, Jimmy!" Like that whole back and forth. Like they really get into each other because now, like you used to have Chuck, and Chuck almost kind of acted as a little bit of a buffer between Hamlin McGill and Jimmy, and now like that, and like Jimmy never liked Howard. Like he always hated him, but now it's like. Now
there's nothing to hold him back anymore.
Like, and I love that. I absolutely love that. But number one, just Kim Wexler in general as a character, I love that she, at the end of season 3, she gets into a car accident because she's working so hard on Mesa Verde, and she's working so hard on the oil guy. I can't remember his name, but Bob something, right? Bob something.
Yeah.
But she's working so hard. She slips. What does she say at one point? She slept 6 hours in the last week because she's working so hard. So she gets into a car accident, which is still a great shot. The shot of her getting into that car accident, the way they do that. Oh my God,
yeah.
But you see her go into this season instead where she backs off of a lot of that because she's been working so hard, and she starts to take pro bono cases at the courthouse, which. I love those pro bono cases, and she really, this season, and this season takes her in a place where I never thought it was going to, because they do the whole thing with Huel, which is glorious, which is just
that is brilliant,
amazing. But then like that episode ends where like Jimmy's like like feeling like she's gonna like scold him or like, no, you got to do this way, you've got to do it this way or whatever, and then she's like, let's do it again. Like where she's kind of liking a little bit of that little bit darker side.
She's always been comfortable going to the dark gray side.
I love that they're tipping her a little bit more in that direction. But the only thing is with Kim, it scares me for her character now. It scares me for her character because I don't know. We don't know how, because Better Call Saul hasn't finished its series run yet. I'm really afraid for what's going to happen to that character
because she's no mention of her ever in Breaking Bad.
If they take her away from me, I'm going to be so upset. But I really fear if they're going to take her in this slightly where she's getting a little bit darker, I'm afraid for her.
I don't see her going dark. What I'm seeing is like there was one specific opening that was fucking brilliant. I think it was like the episode 7 where it shows the split screen of Kim and Jimmy getting ready in the morning, going about their day.
One of my favorite scenes of the whole season. Yes.
It was like a fucking like 5-minute opening, but it was just shot amazingly. It had like the fucking song. And then it showed to me like they were growing more and more distant. Like he was going more towards the dark side. She was trying to explore like what genuinely makes her happy. And like you can see that there's like this divide between them.
But I love, it reminds me of in Citizen Kane, which is, of course, a lot of people know it's one of my favorite films. But there's a scene in Citizen Kane that's like really, really famous for basically Orson Welles. It's like just a series of shots of he and his wife, of Kane and his wife at breakfast, and they just get further and further and further apart to when the scene begins, they're like cuddling and they're next to each other, they're really close, and by the time the scene ends, they're at a long table sitting at opposite ends of it, and she's reading the newspaper from his rival. Like that's how far apart they've grown. It really, really reminded me of that, and you're right, it's brilliant. It's one of my favorite moments of the season because you get that great part in the opening where they're squirting the toothpaste on each other's toothbrushes and stuff, and they're obviously so close and everything, and they're
because they're both
pulls
in
them
each side of the split
apart.
screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then they go to each having their own side.
it just,
and occasionally,
man.
like, he can refill her wine because they're on the same side, but then it's just like nothing.
It just it pulls and slowly distances them, and it probably gets into what is another one of my favorite scenes in the series, because you've felt the tension between her and Jimmy kind of bubbling and kind of brewing a little bit, but they have that blow up on top of the parking garage. Oh, how just in terms of the performances that they give alone, I mean, I love this fucking show so much.
So, like, and this is just probably because my perspective of like how I am in relationships, like with Dan, they do not seem very physically affectionate with each other at all. Like, I see that they have each other's backs and I see that they love each other, but I don't feel a romantic relationship with them at all.
Only
and maybe that's
once
just
in a
maybe
while.
they're more Todd. I don't know. Maybe they're a little more asexual.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a maybe they just don't have that kind of affection thing, or whatever. But yeah, I love when and I gotta say, like the argument, like when they're fighting, when they're battling back and forth, like Kim has been his rock. You know, and I love her frustration in the scene, because he's obviously not dealing with the grief of his brother's death well at all, because we know through the first 3 seasons of this show, like as much as Chuck whips him like a dog, he keeps crawling back like over and over and over again, and like he does not deal with his brother's death well at all.
No.
And Kim has been his rock, like literally the one person who's always had his back, and like he even like bites into her a little bit. And I love that she finally snaps and finally is like, who has always been the one who has been there for you, who has cleaned up your messes, who has backed you up no matter what anybody else says about you. It's always been Kim Wexler. Oh my God, Rhea Seehorn and
she's
Bob Odenkirk
amazing
in that scene are both amazing.
Well, then she's going to the DA and trying to like negotiate Jules' case down or whatever. And she was like, the only witness that he has is some scumbag ex-lawyer that fucking peddles drop phones to criminals. And she just like is confronted with that fucking slap in the face on Jimmy's character, and then immediately goes outside and tries to have his back and tries to help him. Then he's like, well, we can't take it. I'll have to do what I'm going to do. And then she's forced into coming up with an alternate solution, which is the fucking stationary, amazing letterathon.
Oh my God.
She carries this season for me.
I would 100% agree, because like this is easily the most heavy lifting her character has had to do dramatically in terms of this. But again, this is the genius of Vince Gilligan, because this is what Breaking Bad did as well. You get these characters who you don't necessarily get like huge dramatic like upheaving performances out of at first, and then you just get more and more invested in these characters, more and more invested, and that's when he just slowly starts to turn the dial up. That's where he just slowly starts to make you like care more and more, and then brings out the real dramatic teeth of it. And it's legitimately perfect dramatic television. I mean, I can't say enough how like when people talk about Breaking Bad and how much they love it and how it is, I mean, it really is one of, if not the greatest TV dramas ever made, literally. You have to watch this show. People dismiss it. People are like, oh, the first season was too slow. Paul from the Countdown, there's all sorts of these different things where people just, they don't give it the chance. And then please, for the love of God, because it is every bit as good. I swear to God it is. I promise you.
If Paul hadn't listened long enough to hear that warning, then sorry, we spoiled the shit out of all
he
of
went
us.
to bed. He went to bed. He had to work. He has to work tomorrow. He went to bed.
Good.
I'm gonna make him watch it though. I'm gonna make him do it.
I'm working on Gerald, getting him to watch it. Is he listening?
Gerald's listening. Yeah, Gerald's listening.
God
but
damn
he's
it,
only
Gerald.
watched like what, one season, I think. Gerald.
I haven't started it.
Oh, he hasn't started it. Yeah, he hasn't started it yet, but he needs to, because it's brilliant.
Sorry for all the spoilers.
You're welcome.
Should have fucking watched it.
But
all right, so I don't know if I want to skip to the last part that I want to talk about Kim, because it's in the last episode. So let's move.
we'll save that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll save that. Fucking Mike Ehrmantraut. I cannot adore this man anymore. Like, he is a genius. He is the smartest fucking man I've ever met, not met, but like, when he's doing the security consultant test, or when he's thinking about all the things that
How?
the Germans are
Oh
gonna
my
need,
god.
like
Oh my god.
he thinks of everything.
How great is it? So and that's a season 3 thing as well. Like he goes to Gus with his money, the money that he stole from the Salamanca truck that he ripped off, and he goes to them, and he has to have a way to launder it. So they give him a job at Madrigal. I get to see my boo Liddy Rodart Quayle again. We all know, if you listen to that Breaking Bad retrospective we did, I got some Lydia thirst for whatever reason. Don't ask why.
Yes.
It's a thing. It's a thing, people.
Didn't you say there was somebody else that you had that was hot as Lydia?
Kim? Definitely
yes,
Kim.
That was
definitely
Kim. That was
fucking
it.
Kim Wexler. Oh my goodness. But yeah, you get he has to launder his money, so they give him a job at Madrigal, like a fluff job, like it's a job he never ever has to show up for. But as soon as he gets that first paycheck, he just kind of looks at it, and you just see immediately in his head he's like, no, they're gonna give me a job. It's Mike Ehrmantraut, so I'm gonna go fucking do it. And he just steals the guy's ID badge. It has that one episode has a weird cold open where it's just this random guy you've never seen before, and you're like, wait a minute, what is like, I don't understand what's going on. I have no idea what the hell this is. And then you show Mike walking in with the badge around his neck, and he does that whole security test where he goes through, and he's like, literally, I love it. Oh my god, I love his character so
amazing.
so much.
When he fucking busts that dude that's in a grief group that's lying.
Yes.
Like, he notices all this. He's got to tell. He is a sponge, and he's absorbing everything that you don't even know he's absorbing. And then the fucking relationship he develops with Werner, who's a new character this season.
Oh my god, Werner, oh my god. Oh.
I loved the whole like storyline of like building the super lab and seeing that all come to be. And you get a little cameo from Gale, which is
Gale
nice.
Bedecker, a little taste of Gale Bedecker back, which was so great. Like Fring walks into the lab to meet him, and of course he's sitting there fucking singing a chemistry song. Like, what? And nobody but Gale Bedecker. Nobody but Gale. He's so endearing. But I love, the construction of the super lab. Like, they start building it, and they get that whole German engineering team in there. And holy fuck, does Werner break my heart. All he wants to do is see his wife. That's like literally all he wants to do is go home and see his wife. And what it does too, because you remember I think it's in season 3 where Mike goes to Fring, and it's like, it depends on the job. Like, Fring's like, maybe you'll come and work for me. And it's like, oh no, it depends on the job. What he's necessarily going to do. But Mike doesn't want to kill people. Mike does not want to be like a hired hitman or anything like that. He doesn't want to have to do that kind of work. And then when he's put into this position where I feel like Mike almost feels like he let himself get too close to Werner, because he kind of keeps people at arm's length all the time. So he blames himself for Werner getting away. And so he takes it on himself and says, no, I'll take care of it. That's one of the most heartbreaking things in the entire Breaking Bad thing for me, period. Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad is Mike leading Werner out into the desert.
And that wide shot with the desert at night.
Oh my god!
And then you just hear it. You can barely even see their silhouettes.
And you get that sad resolution from Werner that eventually, at this point, that he can't talk his way out of it anymore, and that he's come to accept his fate. And he's just like, can you tell my wife, like, she's gonna call and she's gonna do the story? And Mike's like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We'll make sure that she learns the story, and whatever. And then just so fucking heartbreaking.
Well, it's like in that moment he finally realized that Mike has always had his best interest at heart. He wasn't being a hard ass for no reason. He's like been pushed to this point because of Werner. He didn't want to do this, and now Werner's gotten him to this point where his hands are tied. Like, and then he's begging and making it even harder on Mike. Like, just fucking give it up, dude.
Oh my god, and it just, because all he wants to do is see his wife. The way he talks about his wife, about their marriage and everything, and how just all he wants to do is just be able to go home to Germany or have her come to whatever. But of course, they're under lock and key because they're building a super fucking meth lab. It's
like he didn't realize what he's gotten himself into.
Yeah,
how dark and how serious it is.
Rainier Bach is the actor's name, but what a performance. And to take a bit character, basically a little bit character that only ever is going to appear in this season of Better Call Saul, and to just make that character in a few episodes span so endearing, like that, again, the genius of Vince Gilligan and the absolutely amazing performance that Rainier Bach gives in that little bit. Like I said, I was heartbroken. I was just so crushed. I was like, not only because Werner gets killed, but also because Mike had to kill him. Like,
Yeah, that's what killed me even more.
God
like it's
damn
just
Doesn't
he
it
just painted himself into this no-win situation. It fucking knife in the heart.
It absolutely. I mean, God damn it.
I know. I just finished my rewatch literally like 10 minutes before I got into Green Room. So I was just like legit like still sitting on my shoulders. It's just there.
Oh my God.
So I guess the Jimmy? You want to talk about Jimmy? Jimmy / Saul?
Jimmy.
Jimmy ever fading and going to the dark side, aka Saul Goodman.
Julio, you son of a bitch. So $10 donation, #for Werner, #no half measures. I mean, come on. That's perfect. That's fucking perfect. But yeah, it's, man. Oh my God, that broke my heart. But, you know, speaking of, to just jump right over to Jimmy, because that's a perfect segue, also absolutely breaks my heart this season. Because Odenkirk, like the conflicted emotion that, because Jimmy is trying to be Jimmy. Jimmy's trying to project that Jimmy image at everybody, but he adored his brother. He waited on him hand and fucking foot while he was dealing with his allergy to electricity and everything. And like he waited on him hand and foot. He like looked up to his brother like a fucking idol, and legitimately all Chuck ever did was whip him down. So now without Chuck, it's like you almost feel
aimless.
like Jimmy is aimless. You're exactly correct. And I feel like he almost misses being that whipped dog in a way. Like it's just it just crushes me, because then Jimmy immediately, like, he takes some of it out on Howard, which good. Take all of it, more of it out on Howard. Fuck Howard.
That was so satisfying to watch.
Every time
Jimmy
somebody ripped into Howard.
finally stand up to Howard and like not once but twice check his ass, like, was amazing.
We must have gotten something in 39 cents donation in. It doesn't show me alerts for anything below $5, but we must have gotten a donation from the Afterburn 739. Oh, we got $2.39. There it is. Kitty, thank you so much for $2.39. They want to keep that final number at $7.39. Build that Afterburn hype. I love you, Afterburn. I love you so much. But yeah, Jimmy, like the way that Bob Odenkirk plays Jimmy this season. It's again, you're right. He's swinging a little bit more to the dark side and everything. But I think Chuck's death after the first few episodes, like when he kind of is starting to break through it, he realizes there's, nothing to really kind of stop him from being who he wants to be and what he wants to be now, And I think there's the amazing thing this season where they're trying to go through to the exam board, and they're trying to get to the bar to get his law license reinstated, and he goes there and he gives the whole thing, and then they flunk him, they fail him, and they don't let him pass and everything. And then he goes on that whole bender of pretending to cry at Chuck's grave to make people sad, paying like $30,000 is it for that law library that he has built, all that different stuff, all just meant because all he knows. He has that great scene, and I know I'm jumping all over the place. I'm so sorry, but
you're fine.
He has that scene. Remember when they bring the interns in to Hamlin McGill, because he's on the board for the trust fund, which or whatever.
Is, like when fucking Kim lays into Howard about all the fucking garbage, it's like you lay that fucking guilt on him.
Yep.
Like that was just making you feel better. You fucking give him the just so you can't contest the will amount, and then you give him this fucking letter, like. This and then you make him be on the board of a scholarship that you would never have given him, and like it's just everything to do with Chuck is such a kick in Jimmy's dick. Like it's so sad.
And that's the heartbreaking thing, because they bring the interns in and they go through all the interns, and he brings up the one girl who had shoplifted and said, she's got great grades, she's this, she's that, lists all of her great qualities. Like, yeah, she made one mistake, but we can't punish her for that forever. And then of course he chases her outside, and I mean it's basically him talking into a mirror. It's like they will never respect you. They will never care about you. You will never, ever, ever be able to redeem yourself, because that's the battle he fought so long with Chuck. So fucking long, was all he wanted was his brother to fucking respect him one time, which is what Kim says to fucking Howard. She's like, one fucking time, all he wanted was Chuck to just give a fuck about him. And you, like Chuck McGill, like I said, you get that fucking scene in the season 3 finale where he turns to Jimmy and he says, I never really cared for you all that much. Like, your own fucking brother. Like, legitimately, I hate you, Chuck McGill, so much, but I love you, Michael McKean, because you're so good.
Chuck is a fucking sociopath.
Holy
like,
fuck, I
up.
hate Chuck so fucking much. God damn it.
And you get a couple of scenes with him. Oh shit, I might be losing internet. My power's surging.
Ooh, I see your lights flickering.
If I cut out. My God. It has been raining. No shit.
It's raining here too.
It's been raining 7 out of the last 8 days.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Oh, backup generator. She's fine. Yeah, we have a backup generator. Everything seems to be fine. It would have cut out by now.
Yeah, you're still live. You're still talking to me, so you're still here.
Well, fuck it. Thank God for my fucking military landlord and his backup generator.
But that's the great thing about the way that Jimmy plays or Bob Odenkirk, plays Jimmy this season, because he is playing this character because he's bearing the weight of all of that punishment from his brother for literally ages, and now he's gone, and like it's almost like, and it's a weird kind of way to think about it, but it's like the scars almost like they don't heal the right way, because Jimmy deals with it in absolutely the worst, most wrong way.
He represses like a motherfucker, dude.
Why are you showing onions? Get the fuck out of here.
I fucking hate you. Look at these onions, damn it.
Dan's trying to show onions on the chat or on the camera. I think he just wants attention from you.
I know. I'm sorry, Bubby. I love you.
He misses you and he loves you. I know.
I miss him.
That's what it is.
It's weird quarantining like solo now, so it's just me and Anyang for like now. Anyang. She's laying in the bed. Her tummy's not feeling well, so I made her some white rice and just plain broiled chicken. So she's spoiled like a. Sometimes she fakes things just to get like a treat. So like if I'm sitting at the table and I'm eating, she'll fake choking, so I'll jump up and see if she's okay and hopefully drop food. She's done that on more than one occasion. And as soon as I stand up and nothing falls, she just stops and walks away.
Oh my God in heaven. Oh, I love it.
She's a fucking angel. I love her.
I love it. She's
so anyways,
cute.
Jimmy. She's perfect.
Yeah, Jimmy, like I said, that's what I love so much about the way that Bob Odenkirk plays Jimmy this season, is he's bearing the weight of everything that Chuck has done to him. And he just basically, like, he reaches that point, and like I said, when he's talking to that one girl that gets rejected for the scholarship, he's basically like, it could be him just yelling in a mirror, it could be him just talking into a mirror. They will never care about you, they will never respect you, no matter what you ever do. You can try to fly as straight and narrow, and you can try to do literally any and every every obstacle they throw at you. You can do it, you can tackle it, you can whatever, and they will still never ever care, because you're not one of them. You know,
so fuck it, go to the dark side.
Exactly.
Might as well.
And you know what? The way that he grows this season because of his brother's death, it's like I said, it's just amazing, because now he's finally realized, like, I don't have to be the man that my brother wants me to be. You know, I can be my own man. And even if that's down a darker path, even if he's going to do some Slippin' Jimmy-esque things that are a little bit on the whatever side, like, you know, that's the character's morality brought into question. But I love that he's embracing that he can forge his own destiny. He doesn't owe anything to fucking Chuck at all.
Well, and then he gets this fucking job. So it's suspended or whatever for a year from practicing law.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and does like these job interviews and like is the fucking showman of the year and gets people to like offer him these jobs like right on the spot. And he's like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? You don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally blowing up every fucking success he could possibly have, and ends up at like the shittiest cell store ever, and then starts selling drop phones to criminals, which is the smartest fucking thing ever.
Which is amazing. I absolutely.
And gives you the origin of Better Call Saul.
My God in heaven, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So I mean, to move on from that, we've still got Nacho to talk about.
Nacho, I'm not in vested that much in the Nacho story for whatever reason.
Is it because you know that it's not going to end well?
I
can't-
don't
I
know.
can't
There's
believe it
something
will.
about him. I'm just like, he just, as a character, like, I get that he's supposed to be very non-emotional,
Mm-hmm.
but that just, I don't care about Nacho. Is that bad?
Well, I love the relationship between Nacho and his dad. I love
That makes me sad.
it does. It makes me really, really sad, because I mean I see that in a lot of ways. You know, parallels a lot of the other stuff that goes on in the show, but where he, you know, wants to be this good person and everything. Yee, look at all that swag on there. I'm gonna send Dan home with some more. I'm gonna send Dan home.
Please
with
do. I
plenty
just
more.
got a paddle board and it's all white and I want to put stickers all over it.
So it's like I think the thing that I love most about Nacho is how big of a he's like a cogwheel in all of this machinery that's moving on, that's building the backstory of the Breaking Bad world, basically, because it's him who ends up switching Hector's pills, which thank fuck they got Mark Margolis back to play that character again for Better Call Saul, because holy shit do I love Hector Salamanca. But he's the one that gives him the stroke that ends up with him being in the wheelchair. And I love the scene where where he gets the bell, like he initially gets the bell, and like how great is it to hear that goddamn ding again?
I thought it was extremely interesting and also showed how fucking fucked Gus is, that he brought in that chick from Johns Hopkins just to recover him enough to be a prisoner in his own body and then was like, fuck off, bye. Like, that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, can we then immediately talk about how amazing Giancarlo Esposito is as Gus Fring, and how much more of a fucking insane, like, just criminal mastermind. I mean, really, there's no other way to, like, just how good he is as Gus Fring. And
he's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, dude.
Oh my god. Like, I love, like, the darker moments that they allow that character to have. It's that thing where, like, in Breaking Bad, when you first meet that character, he's so quiet and so unassuming, and then he slices the motherfucker's throat open in the super lab after they kill Gale. And it's like, what? And you're just getting more of that kind of thing. Like, you're rounding out that darkness that Gus definitely has. But, like, there's that one scene where he turns to the doctor. It's like at the beginning of the season, he turns to the doctor, and you know, the doctor that checked him out, like the mob doctor or whomever it was, or the cartel doctor that was like, no, he's in a coma, but he'll survive or whatever. It's like, you know, what, I forget what he says, but and Gus turns to the doctor. He's like, only I will decide his fate, no one else.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he owns Hector Salamanca's life. He's like, no, I'm the one that's going to decide how Hector Salamanca dies, nobody else. Like, I'm just like,
well, like, that made it even more shocking, because the only time I've ever seen anybody stand up to Gus was when Mike was like, if you're going to make a move, do it.
yeah,
Like, I was like, oh,
which
you
how
got
good
some
is that?
balls.
How good
Like,
is that?
It was, I was like, oh man. He's
That's
like,
why
I'm
you
right, right?
love
You
Mike.
running and I quit running a game and telling me what it is you want. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But that's why I love
Okay.
Mike Ehrmantraut, because Mike Ehrmantraut does not give a fuck, and Mike Ehrmantraut is straight shooter as they come. He's like,
He's
this
like,
is
I
how
don't
it
have much
is.
time left. Let's do this
It's
shit.
the same way that in Breaking Bad, he's the one that sees Walter for who he really is and tells everybody, even though nobody will fucking listen to him. He's that's exactly his character. So he doesn't, like, yeah, Gus Fring is a fucking drug kingpin, criminal mastermind, but he walks up to him. He's like, yeah, what, you know, like. But I think Mike is smart enough to just know where, like, he decides to clean up the mess with Werner and everything because he blames himself for it and everything. Like, he knows no matter what line not to cross, you know, and that's like the greatness of Mike's character.
He's a fucking genius.
He is.
Like,
kudos to Jonathan Banks. I'm so
character, like,
God.
Everything.
Jonathan Banks, like, he's such a. I mean, you think
I
about,
love
like,
him.
the same way with Jimmy, with Gus, with all these characters that are in major players and major roles in Better Call Saul, and how, like, you just didn't get that much rounding of those characters in Breaking Bad, and now you go back and you get to see all of this so fleshed out And it changes. It really does change, because when I did the Breaking Bad rewatch for your show, when we talked about it, I'd only watched the first 3 seasons of Better Call Saul up to that point, but holy shit, the depth that it adds back into those characters on the backside, it's just amazing. And we don't even know how it all ends yet.
No, because there's still a lot to go, but I've made a note. We got a couple of other cameos. So we got the Salamanca Twins showed up in the first couple episodes. Crazy 8 was in an episode.
I got it.
We got Gail. We already said. Who the fuck else? There was somebody else I thought.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe that's it. No. I guess that was it. I guess we should talk about Lalo. He's our new villain, or like opposition
Yet another
for the Salamanca clan. Yeah, the fucking like roaches, aren't they, dude?
Jesus Christ, there's always like another Salamanca. I'm just like, holy fuck, who is this guy? Like,
he's the fun kind of crazy though. Like, he's not like Gus, who's very like solemn and somber. He's like, yeah, we're gonna fuck shit up.
I love that
he's
scene
got a lot of charisma.
in the what is it, is it like a Western Union-ish type place, like a money forwarding type place or
Yeah.
whatever, where he literally crawls through the fucking ceiling to get behind the thing and pulls the gun on the dude? He's like, no, show me what he showed him. What are you doing over here? No. But yeah, like, I love that scene where he
Lalo's
literally
fucking nuts.
crawls through the fucking ceiling and jumps down. Oh man, like I love that, because the way that character looks, he's got that unassuming kind of look to him, and then he's like, if Gus Fring didn't have like a 1 through 9, if there was only a 0 and a 10, I feel like that's Lalo in a lot of ways. Like, it's only really mellow, or I'm crawling through a fucking ceiling and pulling a gun on your ass. Like, and it's like from one to the other like that.
He's a little scary.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But Mike again, genius, knew that he was being tailed, and then does the fucking trick in the parking, guess thing with the gum and the ticket. So like it goes and like loses him. He's just a fucking genius. But then Lalo is still figuring shit out and ends up getting Werner on the damn phone, starting to spill beans. And then fucking Mike picks up the phone. I was literally just watching this. Mike picks up the phone. He's just sitting there, and Lalo's sitting there for a minute. He goes, Michael. And I was like, Michael. And then every time they said his full name, the whole time I was just Arrested Developing. It's good times.
Oh my God.
It's good times. Let me see who else we missed. I've got a whole bunch of, I guess let's go.
Lydia? Are we talking about Lydia more? No, I'm kidding. I just love Lydia.
Let's go ahead and just quick, like, so we don't run out of time, go to the last episode, or like, I guess the last scene-ish in the last episode. Yep. Where he's going before the appeals committee to try to get reinstated as a lawyer. And he's decided that he's going to read the letter that Chuck left him to try to garner sympathy from the fucking, the people on the judges. Yep. And like, he does this whole thing where he stops and then he like speaks from the heart and is like, I was going to try to do this, but like, it doesn't feel right, blah, 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 blah. And then immediately goes outside and was like, I could tell they weren't into it. So then I did this instead to Kim. And she's just like, she was buying it. She believed it. And then she sees like, it was all fucking bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Like the look on her face was fucking heartbreaking. Yeah, and right even before they went in, she knew he was going to try to manipulate them with this letter. She even said, I have your back no matter what. And then he does that. And she's just like, why am I backing you?
I think she in that moment, like she really thought for one time that she was really seeing genuine emotion about his brother and about everything out of Jimmy. And then when he gets out there and he lays out like that whole plan, and yeah, you just see the expression on her face just like legitimately just sinks. And it's just like, she kind of just goes glassy eyed a little bit. And it's just like, what on earth? Again, Rhea Seehorn is probably my favorite part of this season. She's amazing. Absolutely, absolutely adore her. But then the season ends, Ashlee.
Oh my God. So like the lady comes out and is like, we've got good news for you. He's like, believe me, I know. And she's like, well, let's go fill out some paperwork. He's like, actually, I'm going to practice under a different name. She's like, Jimmy, what do you mean? He goes, what does he say? Better Call Saul.
Nope.
Or was it said? Saul Goodman. That's what it was. It's all good, man. And that's the fucking, and then it shows her face just like, what the fuck?
Yep. Oh my God. I
fucking ending, like, do you see why I had to start watching season 5
Mhm.
because it was available? I was like, and then I got disinvested because it was too spread out. Now I'm used to binge watching, and
See, I'm the same way now. Like, I didn't want to do it before we talked about season 4 because I didn't want to have anything else in my head except for season 4. But now I will not be able to wait for it to come to streaming or anything like that. Like, I have to see season 5 of Better Call Saul immediately. I really,
Yeah.
really, really, really have to see more of this. I'm so desperate to know like how all of the final pieces move into place to put these characters into position. And you know what? And I really wonder if we're not going to get some timeline overlap kind of with Breaking Bad, because you think about it realistically, we don't really get Saul until season 2. We don't get Mike until the end of season 2, maybe beginning of season 3. Gus is the end of season 2, season 3. Like, we've got season 1 of Breaking Bad where none of the rest of this stuff is kind of a factor. I wonder if there's going to be some timeline overlap where we're going to see some events that are happening at the time of the beginning of Walter White.
2 things. One, when we first got Gale and he was saying that he did those purity tests, and before he opened the thing, I was expecting or excited to see possibly blue meth, that he was maybe testing the purity of it. So that was a disappointment. But then we did get a clue, because there was like in that whole split screen scene, there was somebody closing like a file or whatever. It said PDA 2004. So maybe that's what year they were in then. I don't know for sure when Breaking Bad takes place in. I think it started in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, like the actual production of the series, but I don't know when exactly it takes place. So like, it's still very hazy, which I actually kind of like trying to like fit the pieces together.
See,
Like,
I wonder if they'll do more like once they get to kind of the end of Better Call Saul, like once, you know, Gilligan finally finishes mapping everything out and we see where everything is going to go, if we're going to get, like, I'm not saying we're going to get or like we shouldn't get any of the whites in this show, honest to God. Like, they don't belong in this show. There's no reason for them to be.
But we've seen Crazy 8 and we know he partners with Jesse, so maybe in that way.
Like, I wouldn't mind necessarily seeing something like that, or I wouldn't mind necessarily seeing, like I said, just something where like we hear about, or like they find like toward the end of the final season, or like in the last episode of Better Call Saul or something, like somebody finds this blue meth or whatever and like brings it to them and is like, hey, you got to check this out, there's something else going on, and they're like, somebody else is like coming up in this area, like, because you see Gus is consolidating his power, building the super lab because he wants a stateside production facility that can meet their needs to distribute everything that he wants to do, because they were forced by Don Eladio to pair together with the Salamancas, who he absolutely
despises.
Yeah. So like he's building that stateside production facility so that way he can like literally do everything that he wants to do. And of course we know from Breaking Bad that Gus ends up killing all the motherfuckers. Like, legitimately all of them, which is a glorious moment. That's the same tequila, isn't it? It's the same tequila, the one with the spiky agave plant stopper, the fancy one. I'm pretty sure that's the same tequila that Gus buys for Don Eladio that he poisons him with. I'm going to have to double check that now, but I feel like it is. I feel like it's got to be, because it's a really super fancy tequila. It's what, $50 a shot from that one episode in like season 2?
Yeah, something like that.
I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the same tequila. Like, now that I think about it, I'm just thinking about that scene. I think it is. I think it's got to be chat. If anybody in the chat knows.
I would be interested. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, if anybody in the chat knows that, to let us know. But like I said, I wonder if we'll get some timeline bleed or some timeline crossover where it'll just be like something else is going on in this, like, you got to check this out, like we got this, or like maybe somebody brings it to Gale or somehow Gale gets it or something, whatever happens, he tests the purity, if he's like, we got to find out where this stuff is coming from, like what the fuck is going on, because it's gonna infringe on Gus's business, and then that's like what, mid season 2, end of season 2 of Breaking Bad, and then we can right from there, you know.
Well, like, it's interesting how similar Gus and Walt are. Like, they're both control freaks. They're both perfectionists. Like, Gus is willing to dump every fucking resource he has into making the most supreme everything. And then just imagine, like, knowing this now, how fucking fixated he was on that, how irritating Walt must have been to him.
Oh my God.
Is really interesting.
Like, you think about that, like, Walt all of a sudden comes out of the woodwork. And if we just get to see those events from Gus's perspective, where
like,
all of a sudden,
fuck this dude. dude.
He did all this stuff to build this super lab, to do all these different things, and to prep this whole thing for Gale, who obviously, and the good thing about Gale, you only get 2 scenes of him this season, but the good, like, Gale is obviously, like, he's much more unassuming. He's much more, what the hell?
He's much more what the
My
hell.
in-game friend in Call of Duty invited me to this. Varix, welcome, Nigzuman. Thank you. Yeah, like, I love that idea of, like, Gale is a little bit darker than I think we're initially given an idea of in Breaking Bad. I think Gale is way more into this whole meth thing, I think, than I initially, and I love that. I love that they're even giving Gale a little bit of a darker edge.
Yeah. Like, he was obviously in this world and he's very eager to please. Like, he's ready to cook whenever fucking Gus gives him the go ahead.
He's like super eager to cook meth for Gus. It's like, dude,
he's really ready.
Dude. Like, and I think it's maybe because he hasn't, I don't know. I think from a chemical perspective, because you can tell he really respects chemistry. He's kind of like Walt in that respect. He really respects chemistry. So I think he wants to do it almost just to challenge himself to do it. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you give him just that little bit of depth this season. Just a couple scenes is all he's in, but man.
Well, there's nothing in this show that is done without purpose.
Exactly.
Like, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for every close-up shot of a lizard in the desert. There's a reason for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me talk about first. Hold on. So, 2 things. One, I would be very interested, once Better Call Saul is all complete, to watch all of Better Call Saul from beginning to end and then go into Breaking Bad and watch it like that.
Which I'm not going to rewatch Breaking Bad again until after
No,
Better
it's going to be a
Call Saul's
while.
over.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and I'm going to let it kind of fade from my memory a little bit.
Yeah, it's heavy. This is a little lighter than Breaking Bad so far. Like, it's much more palatable.
Yes.
The second thing, which grossly contradicts that, is when they fucking dispose of Arturo's body. Once they killed that Nacho's friend or whatever, and then the Salamanca twins have to, like, dispose of the body, so they put the dead body in the car and then they blow out the tires and shoot it all up, and then they fucking make Nacho get in the car next to him with all of his shit exploded, and then they almost kill him. That was dark.
Do
you remember that?
That was oh man. And it's like, again, I like Nacho as a character. Like I said, I see him as, like, he's just this big cogwheel that is, like, churning in place. Like, the Breaking Bad is two very, or not Breaking Bad, excuse me, Better Call Saul is two very definitive things. Number one, it's an intense character study of all these amazing different characters in the Breaking Bad universe. So many amazing performances, so much amazing writing from Vince Gilligan and the entire writing team. But then it's a great backstory and fleshes out characters like Jimmy McGill and stuff, Saul Goodman, but then it's also just painting in the world. It's filling in all this stuff. It's putting all these pieces in place in this whole kind of wider Breaking Bad universe. And I love that. I absolutely adore that, because it's just putting, here's Hector Salamanca, here's Gus Fring, here's all these little pieces and all these different little things that get them to where they are when the moment that they meet Walter goddamn White. Love it. I love it.
And it's like, yeah, like I said, it would be interesting to watch them, because now, like, you get so much more understanding of the characters that they interact with from Breaking Bad. So now to fully understand Gus's frustration, Gus's rage, the irritation, like, I don't even, like, Mike and Saul don't really seem like they're working together that much. So, like, I feel like their relationship is going to come a little bit tighter before Breaking Bad, because, like, they seemed a little bit more like they did in previous seasons. So I don't know.
I do love, every once in a while, and I love, because this show is two very, very distinct different things. Like, you've got, and Mike is your bridge between them, because Mike knows Jimmy, and Mike has had, Jimmy do stuff for him and represent him and do whatever and blah, blah, blah. But then Mike is also the one who's connected into the Salamanca, the Gus Fring, all of that entire rest of the half of the show, because Jimmy's not involved in that at all. But I feel like we'll get a little bit more of Jimmy being a part of that now that Saul Goodman. I really feel like we're going to get a little bit more of Jimmy kind of And I'm not necessarily saying I don't think we're going to see scenes of Jimmy with Gus Fring or anything, because that doesn't really make sense to me, because I think
because even when they did that, it was like,
Yeah.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he never knew who Gus was.
he just knows of him or whatever. But I think we'll start to see like some of the lower level players and stuff like that maybe make cameos. Julio said in the chat, he's like, I want to see Howard buying drugs from Badger and Skinny Pete.
Yes!
Can we
That
have
would be
Badger and Skinny
amazing.
Pete show up in Better Call Saul,
There's
please?
never
at some
enough
point?
of Badger and Skinny Pete.
Never
They're
enough. I want to
amazing.
see another one of their like epic 5-minute deconstructions of Star Trek or something. It's just
Can we get that on fucking YouTube? What the hell, guys?
Oh my God, please.
That'd be amazing.
Bubby,
Nikki,
I love you so much. I will
love you.
take very good care of the Daniel. I promise.
I know. He's a grown ass man. He can
He's
take care
coming
of
to say
himself.
hello to you because he wants to wave to you because he misses you and he loves you.
Hi, babe. I love you.
He's so pretty.
Isn't he so cute?
I saw him naked already.
Ah, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Did he dance?
He did not dance. No, he was just drying himself off.
Oh, he always dances.
No, he didn't. Now he's dancing right
Is
now.
he dancing now? That's
he's,
it.
He's gonna come over here and
That's
dance
the-
now. So please tell our amazing audience, and if you guys have a show that you love that is off the air now, so you don't cover stuff that's on the air, so you cover everything that's off the air. So
Yep.
if there's a show out there that you love that is off the air, please tell our audience where they can find Rabbit Ears and how amazing it is, because it is amazing.
Oh, well, it's obviously amazing.
Definitely.
Dan hosts us on netflixandswill.com. That's Netflix at the letter N, swill.com. It's also available on any of your podcatchers, Rabbit Ears TV podcast. The most recent episode was with Dan and Caleb to discuss BoJack Horseman, which I regretted during recording, but I actually think it's a very funny episode. And then next month, the episode's released once a month. It's the third Friday of every month. But next month, I've got Wayne coming on, and we're talking about 30 Rock.
Oh,
I'm so
my
excited.
Lord.
I already recorded it, so I know
great.
what happens. But
That's going to be a great episode. I can't wait for that. And if you guys please go back in her library, if you want to hear Ashlee and I just absolutely lose our shit over Glee, like absolutely loving and simultaneously hating, depending on the part of Glee.
yeah.
Please go back and listen to that episode. That was so much fun to
That's
record.
the sing-along episode where I put like 5 songs in
Oh
the
my
episode.
God. There's so many songs in it, but it's so amazing.
I
It
don't
was
care.
so much fun.
I do my podcast because I enjoy it.
You do it your way.
And if
that's how
everybody
you
else
should always do
enjoys it, great. But if you don't, I'm sorry. I'm not getting paid. You don't really get to tell me how to do it.
Exactly. So, Ashlee, I love you. Thank you so much once again for taking your time to be here for live stream for The Cure. Thank you for sending Daniel along. You're probably glad to get him out of your hair for a couple days.
No, it's really weird quarantining by myself.
I imagine it probably is. But
Well, of
thank
course you imagine you've
Oh.
been doing it.
Yeah. Now Gerald's here and it's all weird. But I
Gerald
love you.
is the new Bill.
Thank you so
I love you. Go to your
so
next
much.
segment. Get out
Mwah.
of here.
Thank you
I
very,
love
very
you.
much for being here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Bubby. Dan
Bye.
says he loves you. He didn't, but I'll say it for him.
I know he does.
Bye, Bubby.